Okay, so what you guys learned last week, we are taking and we're putting it all together into one problem or one really large problem with multiple parts today. And so what we're going to do first is we're going to, well, let's look at the problem. So here we have a plane is set to travel southwest at 400 miles per hour. And so the first thing we need to think about is, okay, what the heck is southwest, Miss H? And so what I want you to think about is north, south, west, east. Just like our unit circle, just like our quadrants, like everything we've drawn in the past. What is north? What is south? What is west? What is east? And so southwest would be here. And so if east is 0, 90 is north, 180 is west, 270 is south, and 360 is east. Halfway in between south and west would be 225. And so my direction here is 225 degrees. And so we have to think about it in terms of degrees, like the southwest isn't really helpful for me in terms of what I'm talking about here. And so, and then our magnitude is 400 miles per hour. And so what we're doing here is just like we have done before. So here's my vector. I'm looking for the x component and I'm looking for the y component. And so what I'm going to do is take my magnitude times cosine of my direction, my magnitude times my sine of the direction. And so I'm going to put those in magnitude, or sorry, in component form. And so I want you to solve for those two values and input those. I believe this is number 5. So put those answers in to your Go Formative to check and make sure that you did those right. And then come back. Okay, and so then this is number 6. And so we also have some wind blowing. And this is blowing north. And so if this is blowing north, then this would be 90 degrees. And so I have 15 is my magnitude, my miles per hour, cosine of 90, and 15 times sine of 90. And then that will give you a value and another value. And so you can either put it in this format or you can put it in the I hat, J hat format. And so make sure that you've done number 5 and number 6 and then come back. And so then on number 7, we're going to take those two vectors and we're going to add them together. And so number 5 was negative 282.64. So if you weren't able to figure it out, this is what you should have had. Negative 282.64 should have been my plane. And then number 6 was my wind, which was 0.15. And that's my wind. And so for number 7, you're going to add those two things together and get a vector here. And so what I want you to think about here is your drawing. So here on our first one, we drew our drawing. That was for number 5. But then from the end point, I'm going north with my wind. So here's my plane, and then here's my wind. And so my resultant vector, my answer, starts at the beginning and goes here. And so we can kind of see on our picture here that the magnitude is probably going to decrease a little bit, and the angle measure is going to get closer to west than it was southwest. So it'll get a little bit further west instead of southwest, or closer to 180 than it is to 225. Or I guess from 270. So it's going that direction instead of closer to the south direction. All right, so put that answer in after you add these two things together and add these two things together, you get a new vector. So that's number 7. So if you were wondering if I'm actually crazy, yes, I am crazy. Okay, it should have been 0.84 and 0.84. So side note, Miss H was wrong. And so hopefully you've put in number 7. And so my vector that you should have gotten for number 7, hopefully you did it right, should have been negative 282.84 and negative 267.84. And so this is the combined. And so now we're going to find the magnitude and we're going to find the direction. And so remember that magnitude is really, here we are in quadrant 3. So this is negative 282 and negative 267. And so we're finding the hypotenuse here. And so this would be negative 282.84, all of this squared, plus negative 267.84, all of this squared is equal to my magnitude squared. And so when you work that out, you should end up with 389.53. And remember that this does have a unit, and so remember to include your miles per hour. And then we're also going to solve for the direction. And so my direction would be inverse tangent, just like always going to use inverse tangent of y over x. Negative 267 over negative 282.84. And then what do we have to add when we're in quadrant 3? So my answer is in quadrant 3, and so that means that I need to take this and I need to add 180 to it. And so add 180 to the answer that you get in the calculator, and you should end up with angle measured 223.44 degrees. So here's my direction, and here is my magnitude. So go on, and the next 5 problems, number 10 through number 14, is getting you step by step through this whole process. And then the next problem after that has kind of broken it down a little less so that you're having to do a couple of things on your own, but still there's a few checkpoints just to make sure that you're on the right track. So hopefully you guys are doing okay on this today, and I will be back tomorrow and we'll see how we're doing. See you tomorrow. Bye.